It's the New York Giants Sports Talk and Entertainment. Oh, we got some fun things to talk about today, I think. And the first thing I wanted to talk about was, we'll get into the Eagle game on Friday and predictions and all that fun stuff. But we have Giant news and other things I want to talk about. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Belichick. You see a lot of rumors floating around and being bandied about that Belichick is going to leave New England and he may want to come over to the Giants and be the general manager, and it'll be a great fit for not only Joe Judge and Belichick because he can return home. And all those things are true. I mean, that's 100% accurate. But here are a couple of problems. You have the segment of fans that think a 2-7 team is going to make the playoffs. If that's the case, how do you fire your general manager who built the team? And then you have another segment of fans that hates Dave Gallman and just wants him gone no matter what. But then you have another set of fans that like Dave Gallman because he may, and it's a big may right now still, he may have built an offensive line. He has created a top 10 defense. The Leonard Williams trade is not looking as bad as it did outside of O'Shea and Zimenez not staying healthy. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to give Leonard the money he wants because I think he's going to finish with like 8-9 sacks, which is great. But I don't think they're going to give him the money he wants. I mean, he also brought in James Bradbury, Blake Martinez. So, I mean, it's one of those things that if you think you're going to make the playoffs with the roster that was built by Gettleman, even if it's a down year for the NFC East, why would you get rid of Gallman and destroy that continuity and start from square one again? It doesn't make any sense. And the other issue I have with the Belichick has a head coaching record that is second to none with the Super Bowls and everything else. But if you look at his head coaching record without Tom Brady, it's like 20-23, something like that. I forget the exact number. But he has a losing record without Tom Brady. He's like 270 and 100 and something with Tom Brady. Without him, he's like 20-23. So is Bill Belichick the genius general manager because he just has all the answers, or is it because he had a franchise quarterback for 20 years? That happened to be named Tom Brady, which is, you could agree with it or not, but Tom Brady should be considered one of the greatest quarterbacks, or if not the greatest quarterback that ever played the game. So, I mean, like I said, it's great to dream about Belichick. It's one of like I said, I'm a Knicks fan, and when Pat Riley came and coached the Knicks, I was Showtime, baby. And what did we turn into? We turned in, we basically turned it into the Detroit Pistons. And then when he quit by fax and then went over to Miami was pissed because of the fact that they didn't want him as a general manager. They wanted him as the head coach. He didn't take over the reins to be the head coach until he knew he had a team that could win and take him to the playoffs and possibly win a championship. But then he took over the reins and they dropped him again. So, and it's the same thing with Belichick. Every Giant fan wants Belichick to come in and be the general manager. But here's the problem. As soon as, let's say that happens, as soon as Joe Judge starts to falter, what's the first thing that every Giant fan is going to say? We need to put in Bill Belichick. We need to fire Joe Judge and have Belichick. So why people think, it's going to be nice for Joe Judge to have his quasi-mentor, because Joe Judge has been around to a couple of different places, his quasi-mentor come in and be the general manager. It's also going to be a blessing and a curse, because the minute that Joe Judge starts losing, the first thing that everyone's going to want to do is fire Judge and have Belichick coach the team. That's just pure logic, and that's pure logic and it's pure fandom, because that's just the way the fans are. And it's the same thing with the Knicks and Phil Jackson. I didn't want Phil Jackson as the president of basketball operations and general manager and anything like that. I wanted him to coach the Knicks. So we need to look at that from an outside perspective. Also, in other Giant news, Tae Crowder has been designated to return from the IR, Does that mean he's going to play on Sunday? That we don't know yet. The Giants have until Saturday at 4 p.m. to activate him, and then we'll see if he is going to play. Basically, what it means is after you take a guy off IR, you have a 21-day window to reactivate him onto the active roster. If not, then he's shut down for the year. So that probably, if they activate him from the IR, that means he's going to come back. Will he come back against Philadelphia? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't see if he has since he was just activated, if he has a couple good days in practice. I mean, I can't see him taking a large load coming back from a hamstring, but if he plays in 20-30% of the plays, I think that would be great. I would like I said, I want to see Tae play an offense that is not Washington's. I want to see him do something against a team not named Washington, because all these guys always have these great games and we win, and it's always against Washington. But there's other teams in the league. I think there's another 29 teams in the league, or whatever it is, or 30 teams in the league. I can't think right now. It's been a long night and the coffee's not kicking in. But like I said, it's interesting. I also found an interesting comment, Doug Peterson, about Wayne Gallman, about how he is a game changer and how he's an explosive guy, which is 100% true, and I wish he's an explosive threat. And I wish the Giants would have figured that out, I don't know, about 7 weeks ago, because I do think he would have helped the running game. And like I said, we'll never get the big picture of why Wayne was in the doghouse with the Giants. We'll never understand that. Because like I said, even when Barkley went down, you automatically assumed he was going to take over the reins. And when we went with Deion Lewis that one game when Barkley went down because Gallman wasn't even active. So I mean, it's we have to kind of figure out what we have in Wayne, because we need to see if we're going to keep him around. Because we're not going to be 100% sure on who's coming. I mean, how Barkley and when's Barkley's coming back from the injury. I know Barkley will be back next year. He's a dedicated guy. He'll work hard on becoming good again. But like I said, going, even with Barkley going 3 years after his rookie season, or 2 years after his rookie season, it would be 3 years. What is good? What are we going to expect from Barkley? But we're not even going to get into that, because that's a long way. That's a long way down the road right now. I did think it was interesting that some people were talking about Patrick Graham being the MVP for the New York Giants. And honestly, I would have to agree. It's his substitutional defense that has been making the Giants better. I mean, I think it's great. Like I said, I don't know if this type of substitutional defense will work long term, because of the fact that, like I said, you don't always build. If anyone who's played the game would understand this, you can sometimes not build up consistency and continuity if you're not on the field continuously. And so while this may work in short spurts, I'm not sure what the longevity is of it, but right now we're going to ride the train. It's the same thing with the offensive line. The offensive line, like I said, I've been watching Giants in '76. I have never seen anything like the offensive line. I like saying I've been watching Giants in '76 because it doesn't make it sound like that old. You sit there and go, I've been watching the Giants for 44 years. That makes you sound worse. I don't like the sound of that. So I've been watching the Giants in '76, and I've never seen an offensive line like this. And I think the problem is players are human. So what's going to happen, though, is even though you're doing these substitutions, some guys are just going to have bad days. And the problem is, are you going to be putting a guy into the lineup who's going to have a bad day, and he's only playing for 5 to 10 snaps, and those 5 to 10 snaps and his bad day translate and equals to a sack? So again, there is a reason why a lot of these things that we're seeing with the Giants have not been done in the NFL. I mean, they've been done in the NFL years ago, because like I've said, there's really no new ideas in the NFL. They're just recycled ideas put into a new package. It's like the big thing with the Wildcat years ago. Everyone was doing the Wildcat. Everyone had a version of Wildcat. Yeah, that lasted like 2 seasons. Defenses and offenses figures these things out. Coordinators are really smart guys. So you kind of have to, It's great for this season, but I would not see this being something that has legs for the longevity. And that would be multiple defensive and offensive situations, substitutions. But like I said, it works now, which is great. It's the same thing with everyone when they wanted a running quarterback. Everybody wanted the next Michael Vick. Everyone was going to take a wide receiver or take a college quarterback, turn him into a wide receiver and make him this wildcat wide receiver. Yeah, that didn't last very long. That lasted like a season and a half. The same thing with the run and shoot, the spread offense. Well, the spread offense has been around for a while, but like you had the run. You had Mouse Davis's run and shoot. Detroit ran it. A couple other teams tried to run it. What's his name? Buffalo tried to run it. Buffalo went to 4 Super Bowls or 3 Super Bowls or whatever it is. And that didn't work out too well for them in the Super Bowls because you could say anything you want, but defense wins championships. And I think that should always be the moniker. I mean, if you could score all the points if you want, but if you can't stop anybody, it doesn't matter. You could score 40. You could average 45 points a game, but if you give up 47, that doesn't work out too well. And I don't want to get into how everyone's so excited about a 2-7 team because I always hear this. Well, we just lost so many close games. Well, here's the problem with that theory. It doesn't. It goes both ways. It doesn't matter if you win by 1 or win by 40. It's still a loss. It's still a win. And it doesn't matter if you lose by 1 or lose by 40. It's still a loss. There is no column in the standings that says, I lost by 40, I lost by 1. A loss is a loss. That's all there is to it. And you're 2-7. Yeah, it's fun and it's fun to get excited about a 2-7 team possibly making the playoffs. But like I said, I think we need to be grounded in realism a little bit here because we still have some deficiencies in a lot of areas. And we still do need like I said, we need to see what Daniel Jones is going to do these next 8 games because we got to figure out if we got a quarterback or not. If we don't have a quarterback, if you don't have a quarterback, your whole philosophy of Dave Gallman staying or going may change on the way Daniel Jones plays. It's funny, but a lot of people have said that Daniel Jones is tied to Dave Gallman, and Dave Gallman's career is hinged on how Daniel Jones plays. That's the way it is right now. And again, this is Tom with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, I think you know what that means, that'd be awesome.